Best felicitations are likewise extended to the diligent and hardworking staff of the Secretariat of this prestigious institution who have made this necrological service possible. It is difficult to say goodbye to a loved one, especially if it is a permanent separation, such as one brought about by death. It is a cocktail of emotions, taking the person left behind from one end of the spectrum to the other. Sadness, joy, anxiety, fear, denial, and acceptance. On the day that the country celebrated the anniversary of its independence, which earned us the freedom that we enjoy to this very day, our beloved Rodolfo Pong Biazon, former Armed Forces Chief of Staff, former member of the Philippine Senate in the 9th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th Congresses, and former member of the Philippine House of Representatives in the 15th and 16th Congress, was called to report to his creator. It is tempting to think that the man who made it a lifetime career to defend freedom and democracy and go against those who attack or threaten it purposely chose June 12, 2023 as his departure date to the next life. Indeed, it was a day of freedom for him. Freedom from the pains and suffering of this world. It was a day of independence as well. Independence from the tools of medicine that help him to sustain life, but not really live life. His 30 years of soldiering was spent laying his life on the line, ready to pay the ultimate sacrifice, defending freedom and democracy, using military means as necessary. But his next 21 years as a legislator were likewise spent defending freedom and democracy, but this time through the power of words and discourse. Same tasks, different tools. I think it will not be an exaggeration nor a lie to say that he accomplished those tasks and did them well. In fact, his former colleagues and members of this respected institution has already said so. The general, the senator, the congressman. Which title should we call him? And let me tell you a story. Don't worry, this is not going to be as long as how my father tells stories. Number one. One time he was at a speaking engagement and he was asked how he wanted to be addressed given his many titles, as I had listed. His answer was simple. He said, well, those three positions are important to me. So let's just use all three. Generator man. Number two, he was very proud of being a general in spite of the three titles that he has earned. So one time, when I just finished my pictorial for my being the Commissioner of Customs, I proudly showed him the portrait with me in the uniform of the Commissioner of Customs, having 4 stars on my shoulder. And I told him, Papa, 4 stars na rin ako. And then he just looked at me with a blank stare and said, yung 4 stars ko, for 30 years of blood, sweat, and tears, ikaw inamoy ka lang. Number 3. These are stories of the intimate relationship between a father and a son. I heard earlier that our senators say that Senator Biazon was intimidating. But you know, there was one member of the House who was not intimidating. There was one time that that senator and that congressman were engaged in a debate on a particular bill, the Philippine Coast Guard bill. Philippine Coast Guard bill. It reached the bycam. and the senator and the congressman faced each other in the bicameral conference room. The congressman would not let the senator have his way. Kasi siyempre yung house, di ba? O equal branch. And the senator would not give way as well. So it took quite a debate, compelling one of the members of the committee, Senator Green, was compelled to say, why don't the two gentlemen have a bicam in their own house? So the relationship between my father and I also goes beyond just a mere father and son relationship. It was of mutual respect and admiration between two colleagues, because that's how he is. He would respect you as you are, and he would not use his being the father to simply bully me. Number 4, he remained simple. I guess most of you who know how he is personally, he remained simple. He was never changed by power. He was never changed by the privileges of power. Hindi mo siya nagbago. In fact, on that day that he was brought to the hospital, his personal belongings were collected. They were gathered, and eventually they were given back to us when he was released from the hospital. Hindi mo siya nagbago. Because among those items in the personal belongings was a lighter and a pack of cigarettes. He never changed. Kanina po, nakwento yung nahulog sa platform. Siyempre, immediately, a lot of people called me up right then and there, worried, because he did not want to be brought to the hospital, and so I called him. And I was trying to convince him to go to the clinic at least. He said, don't worry about me. I'm fine. I'm nothing broken. But I said, you know, for seniors like you, it's a concern if you fall. He said, don't worry, Marines ito. I did a parachute landing for you. That's how he is. He is a warrior and a gentleman, one who knows when to use the wrath of a warrior and when to use the geniality of a gentleman. In a similar duality, he is also a serious worker and a funny father. That's how we know him. However he may be called, we would like him to be remembered as a simple public servant who had no other desire but to complete the task given to him, fulfill the duty he assumed, and produce the results expected from him. The family has nothing but the most sincere appreciation for the senators who have given their testimony in this august chamber in praise of a man who dedicated his productive years to serving the Filipino people. From my mom, Mama Mochi, my sister Richie, my brother Lino, my in-law Herb, of course my wife Nina, our children, our pamangkins, and baka hindi niyo pa masyado nakikilala, yung kapatid po ni Senator Biazon, ay ito nakaupo doon, si Tita Dulcin. Tignan niyo yung mukha, isang hulmahan. These distinguished ladies and gentlemen are persons who worked with him, debated and discussed with him, observed his performance, and made conclusions about him. All of us in the Biazon family are grateful and honored for the kind words that you have told about our father. Those words are the ones that will carry us through this difficult time. Just like many other stories that we have encountered during the past several days, when visitors would line up and view the body of Senator Biazon, their stories about their interactions help sustain us to go through this time. In the days leading to his interment, it is fitting that the Senate become one of the stops that punctuate his journey to eternity. It is an institution he loved and served well. It is an institution that became his channel to accomplish his duty to the country. Let me quote, "When bells for us are rung and our last taps is sung, let generations see our country free. The Cavaliers here know this by heart. This is something that my father has always put value in. That's why every opportunity to go to the PMA for a homecoming, he would want to go. Last January 28, we were at the PMA to launch his book. He chose to bring it to the PMA first and talk to the cadets. Because, as mentioned earlier, the institution of the Philippine Military Academy is where he believed we should be raising soldiers that are true patriots. Well, his bell has already been rung, the last taps has been sung. He is a faithful servant who has fought the good fight and has finished the race. He has been known as the GOAT of his class. For a while, he just let it be. But actually, he's number 8 from the bottom. But now there's a new meaning of being the GOAT of the class. He is the greatest of all time. He is Rodolfo Pong Biazon.